Kanye West wore a Patek Philippe worth over $1 million to a Sunday service performance in 2022. 8 weeks later, Adidas cut him, Gap cut him, Balenciaga cut him, and Forbes stripped him of his billionaire status in a single afternoon. He kept the watch. And he is not even close to the worst person on this list. 10 celebrities, $1 million watches, federal case numbers, and every single one still owns the watch. Number 10. Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson made $200 million in the NBA and wore the money on his wrist. An iced Jacob & Company 5-time zone before Jay-Z made the piece famous, custom Rolex day dates, courtside, and a diamond-crusted breguet valued in the 8 figures. By 2012, his ex-wife had to petition the court to freeze his assets because he could no longer pay child support. The only reason Allen Iverson is not sleeping in a car right now is Reebok. Back in 2001, Reebok locked $32 million into a trust fund that Iverson cannot touch until he turns 55. He signed away control of his own money to save it from himself. The watches are gone. The Reebok deal is the smartest contract any athlete ever signed, and it was written specifically because Allen Iverson could not stop himself. But before he could learn that lesson, Wesley Snipes was learning a harder one. Number 9. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes made Blade, Blade 2 and Blade Trinity, and then he went to federal prison for 3 years because he had not paid federal income tax on any of it. Court filings say Snipes earned $37 million during the years he refused to file. He wore iced Rolex pieces to every Blade press tour and a yellow gold Rolex day date to his own sentencing hearing in April of 2008. Judge Terrell Hodges gave him the statutory maximum, 3 years federal prison. He served 28 months at FCY McKean. When he came out, he offered the IRS $842,000 to settle, 4 cents on the dollar. The tax court denied him and told him he still owed $23.5 million. The Blade money never actually existed. The Rolex, at least, was real. Number 8. Young Buck. Young Buck was signed to G-Unit, 50 Cent's label. In August of 2010, federal IRS agents in tactical gear kicked down his front door in Nashville, shotguns raised, and inventoried every valuable object in the house. The federal court schedule from that raid is one of the most vicious documents in celebrity finance. On the same page as a $31,000 Breitling Bentley wristwatch, the government inventoried his children's video game console. Same paragraph, same line item, same official seizure record. Young Buck filed Chapter 13 the next day to stop the auction. His bankruptcy trustee blocked the sale, and Young Buck repurchased the watches, the plaques, and his kids' PlayStation at reduced prices. He bought back his own belongings with money the IRS had not yet found. Number 7. MC Hammer. MC Hammer made $33 million in 1991 alone. 40,000 square foot mansion in Fremont, gold-plated hot tub, 17 cars, 2 helicopters, a private jet, and a household staff of 200 employees that cost him $500,000 every month. He wore a solid gold Rolex day date and multiple Cartier tanks throughout the spree. In April of 1996, MC Hammer filed Chapter 11 in Oakland Federal Court, owing $13.7 million to 200 separate creditors. Here is the part nobody tells you. On that creditor list was NFL Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, owed $500,000. The football legend had to line up in bankruptcy court behind MC Hammer's vendors, his staff, and his pool cleaner. Hammer today works as an ordained preacher and a Silicon Valley angel investor with early stakes in Twitter and Square. Number 6. DMX. DMX died in April of 2021, and Westchester County probate records showed his estate worth under $1 million. Some reports put it under $50,000. He had 15 children. His 2013 Chapter 11 filing listed $1.24 million in back child support as priority debt. The word priority matters. It means the federal government considered his unpaid children the single most important line item on his bankruptcy schedule. Gold Rolexes and diamond-crusted chains in every Rough Riders music video. Party up, X gon' give it to ya, every frame thousands of dollars on his wrist. He died 8 years later with a negative net worth, and his 15 children now fight over memorabilia auctions from an estate with no cash to enforce anything. Number 5. Sean Kingston. In August of 2025, a federal judge in the Southern District of Florida sentenced Sean Kingston to 42 months in federal prison. His mother, Janice Turner, got 5 years for helping him. The charge was wire fraud. For 2 years, Kingston had been ordering luxury goods and paying with fake wire transfer receipts. A bulletproof Escalade, a Richard Mille RM6501 that retails over $500,000, and a Patek Philippe Calibre worth $378,000. At trial, federal prosecutors read one text Kingston sent his mother. Quote, "I told you to make a fake receipt so it looks like the transfer will be there in a couple of days." End quote. That single text put him behind bars, written to acquire $912,000 worth of watches he never intended to pay for. Both mother and son sit in separate federal custody today for the same watches. If you've made it this far, hit subscribe. The next 5 are the worst yet. Number 4. Nicolas Cage. In 2009, the IRS filed a $14 million tax lien against Nicolas Cage. $14 million of unpaid federal income tax on movies you have watched and loved. At that same time, Nicolas Cage owned a $1.28 million Rolex reference 6062. Triple date, moon phase, solid yellow gold. He wore it on red carpets while the federal government was recording every asset he owned. He also owned 2 Bavarian castles, a haunted mansion in New Orleans, a private island in the Bahamas, and a 70-million-year-old dinosaur skull that he had personally outbid Leonardo DiCaprio for at auction. Cage now works non-stop. Direct-to-video horror films, streaming cameos, anything with a paycheck. He is still paying that $14 million debt down, one movie at a time, and he still owns the Rolex. Number 3, Kanye West. On October 25th of 2022, in the span of a single Tuesday afternoon, Adidas terminated the Yeezy partnership, Gap pulled the collaboration, Balenciaga cut ties, and Forbes stripped his billionaire designation. Kanye West went from $2 billion in net worth to $400 million in about 6 hours. Kanye is the most photographed watch flexer in the history of hip-hop. Rose gold Rolex Day. Dates in every music video since 2010. Custom Audemars Piguet Royal Oaks. A Cartier crash skeleton worth $78,000, one of only 67 ever made. And a rare Patek Philippe Grand Complication in solid rose gold, worth over $1 million, that he wore to a Sunday service performance 3 months before Adidas ended the partnership. By 2024, Kanye was being sued by Donda Academy families for $75 million. By 2025, his personal assistant sued him for $8.5 million in unpaid wages. He still owns every one of those watches, and he refuses to sell any of them. Number 2, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson made between $300 million and $400 million over his boxing career. In August of 2003, he filed for bankruptcy in White Plains Federal Court, owing $27 million. Solid gold Rolex Day date president, multiple Bulgari pieces. A custom diamond Frank Muller through his Vegas years. But what actually broke Tyson was not the watches. It was page 32 of his bankruptcy schedule. $8,100 every month, feeding tigers. Tyson owned 3 white Bengal tigers named Kenya, Storm, and Boris. The federal court schedule listed tiger food and tiger medical care as required ongoing expenses. $27 million in debt, and the man was still paying $8,000 a month to feed his tigers. Tyson has since recovered through his podcast, his cannabis brand, Tyson Ranch, and a 2024 Netflix boxing comeback with Jake Paul that paid him a reported $20 million. And no, he has not owned tigers since 2006. Number 1. 50 Cent. On July 13th of 2015, 50 Cent filed Chapter 11 in Hartford Federal Court, listing $36 million in debts. The filing was forced by a $5 million judgment against him for posting a woman's sex tape online without her consent. 2 weeks later, 50 Cent posted a photo on Instagram. Sitting in his kitchen next to a giant refrigerator, $100 bills arranged on the counter to spell B-R-O-K-E. On his left wrist, clearly visible, a diamond-crusted Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. The federal bankruptcy judge saw the photo. Judge Ann Nevins compelled 50 Cent to appear in her courtroom under oath. Under oath, in open federal court, he testified the money was prop cash, the watch was for photo purposes, and his brand image required maintenance. Here is what makes 50 Cent number one. In that same 12-month window, he was collecting $60 million from selling Effin vodka to Bacardi, on top of the $100 million vitamin water share he had already sold to Coca-Cola. The man telling a federal judge his money was fake was at that exact moment one of the highest-earning private business owners in Connecticut. The watch on his wrist in the broke photo was real. It always was. 50 Cent walked out of Chapter 11 in 2017 after paying $22 million. Today, his estimated net worth is north of $150 million. Here is the pattern. Celebrities do not just go broke. They wear watches worth more than most households earn in a decade, while the federal government is seizing their homes, while their children go unfed, and while their bankruptcy trustees are cataloguing the Rolex on the same page as their kids' PlayStation. Kanye kept the Patek, Cage kept the Rolex, 50 Cent kept the Audemars Piguet. Kingston tried to fraud his way into the Richard Mille, and that is exactly why he goes to bed tonight in a federal prison. The watches always survive. The people wearing them most of the time do not.